Hello friends! So I've been thinking about doing another series on this channel and I don't know if I'm going to continue this series or not. Think of this as we're just beta testing it. We're seeing if we like it, seeing if it's going to be something that will stick. On my blog, I'm notorious for not keeping it up to date. Like, I just don't do it. But there is one thing that I am a little bit more better at keeping up, and that is doing this like weekly news roundup where I take all of the links and videos that I see around the web from the previous week, and then I throw up a post and just briefly like mention the things that I thought were interesting or seemed fun or seemed like beneficial for someone else to see, all like Asian entertainment specific. So I thought maybe that we would also translate that to videos. So let's get started with the links. I don't have like really any like formatting that I figured that would be really good for this. I have my iPad down here with all of my like cheat notes. I haven't posted like an actual weekly news for a couple weeks. I did kind of keep up with some links, and so I have those. So I figured that I would just like talk about some of those things that I saw, and then next week we will officially do something a little bit more polished, a little bit more current. I have a cheat sheet, I told you before, but if you know me, if you know anything about me, you need to know that I am horrific with names. I am so bad with names. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where country you are from. It doesn't matter if you're a family member, if I work with you, if I see you once, if I see you 1,000 times a day, I will inevitably forget people's names. What I'm telling you is that is the reason why I'm going to be looking down a lot. It's very unprofessional, but you know what? We're just here chatting about like random Asian entertainment things. Maybe in the future I'll add some bookish things, but like that's not on my radar right now because I don't have that much time in my life to like add books, like book news and being on top of those types of things into my life right now. So we'll just keep that as a in the future maybe. So I figured I'd start with some of the casting news, at least the casting news that I found like was worthy of me personally telling you, because some of it I just didn't really care for and I didn't really have an opinion about. The first casting news that I found that I thought was interesting is the Song Ye-jin and Hyun Bin casting for the drama that I don't think has a name right now. It's by the writer from I Love From Another Star and Legend of the Blue Sea. So my thoughts on this news is that I need to meet the person who cast them, because I think this is like the perfect thing for someone to do. They saw that those two had a really great chemistry from the movie that they were on. There was like the rumors about them dating or whatever. I don't care about that. That's like not ever gonna be in my interest. Someone saw those things and then like knew that these were two high ticket, highly requested people who not only do movies but also do dramas, and they were able to come up with a plot and pitch both of them a story that they both were going to accept. And I think that's just like brilliant marketing, A+. I like them as actors, so that's also a plus for me. So that's why I was like, yeah, this is the casting news that I want to listen to. The second casting news I wanted to talk about is the one that like everybody knows, but let's just talk about it. Let's just like mention it briefly, because also it's like the only other casting news that I have for the week. And that's Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun, who have been cast in Kim Eun-suk's new drama, which is called The King, the Eternal Monarch. Interesting that both of these actors have been in other projects from the same writer. She is the writer of Goblin, Mr. Sunshine. She also did Heirs, so Lee Min-ho was in Heirs with her. Kim Go-eun was in Goblin. So there's like obviously something about that intrigued them, and like obviously something about the process that they both have like personally with her that made them think that they want to come to work on something that she is doing again. I know that a lot of people have some very drastic opinions about this writer, and I want to say like full stop, I am not the type of person who will not watch something because I hated like their past work. I don't care if a show is not personally written for me and that a character does things that I personally want. There's no real reason why I wouldn't watch this show except for the fact that it does seem like a drama that I personally wouldn't be into. I think if those two actors wanted to do something with her again, that speaks volumes, you know? Like, it speaks to it. Let's talk about military news, because there have been a lot of military news going on. If you watch my TBR/W, which if you haven't, I'll leave a link. You should go watch it. In that one, but I talk about Chan Sung from 2PN, who's like my personal bias, and he is enlisting this month. Now, his enlistment wasn't a surprise. He said that he was going to enlist in June. Nobody knew the date. Like, we now know the date. I think it's like the 11th or 12th. We also knew that it had to happen. It was surprising, however, that Junho like kind of surprised everybody and was like, I'm going to enlist, and then like immediately enlisted. Also, he's in a movie right now, or he's currently promoting a movie right now. So it was surprising. I mean, it was surprising in that it was then not surprising that it's this year. The biggest news of enlistings like this past week that like everybody was talking about, I know you know it, Dio from EXO enlisted. It's surprising in that Dio is not one of the oldest members of the group. It kind of seemed like they were just gonna kind of do that kind of maybe Super Junior-esque type thing where a couple people go, but it's like the oldest members, and then, you know, you still have like a bunch of the group left to do like solo activities or like, you know, combined group stuff, because they can still do that. I think he timed it perfectly in terms of where he is in his career in acting. Like, he just got off of 100 Days My Prince, which people did like, gained some success in that dancing movie that I can't remember the name of, and he's like won all these like kind of bigger acting roles. I think that like his goal or his kind of mission now is more on the acting train, and him leaving right now to do the military and coming back, it's like at a perfect time in his age where he's got a following, he'll have a following coming out, and he'll also still be a little bit younger when he comes out, so he'll still be able to get kind of the younger roles once he comes out of the military. I think it's like a really great time for him to do it. And then finally, the last military news that I wanted to talk about, Top from Big Bang, his official date to get out of the military was set. It's for July 8th. I personally am very excited. He is one of my favorite people in K-pop, so I'm very excited about him getting out of the military. So I have a bunch of like videos to talk about, because there was a lot of music videos that came out over the past couple weeks. First, I wanted to talk about EHI. If you don't know who EHI is, she is a female soloist under YG. She has not been able to make a comeback in years, like, to the point that it's actually absurd. She has an incredible voice, and it's just like been so hard to know that like she's so good and she's just not been giving the time to come back and do music. That like when she finally announced that she was doing the mini like album, everybody was like freaking out. And her video No One that she did with BI from Icon is just so good, and you should all go watch it because it's just great. Speaking of YG female artists that are allowed out of the basement now that YG has so many controversies and they're deflecting, CL just came out on a collaboration song with a couple of like Japanese, I think, hip-hop artists. They are called PKCZ, and she was on the music video, or like the song Cut It Up with Afrojack. She's there. It's not my like kind of music. It's not something I like go towards, but it's CL, and I will take whatever I can. So I've talked about this on like other platforms, but one of my OG K-pop boy groups is SS501. I still have a special place in my heart for them, even though things have happened and there's, you know, things. I do follow a couple of the members a lot, and they've been doing a lot of solo stuff, and one particular is Youngsang. He was the main vocal of the group. He's got a really great voice for like OSTs and ballads, and so for the past couple of years he's really been kind of honing in on that, and like some of the songs that he's been producing and putting out is that. So he just came out with a mini album. He has a new song out. It's really good. If you are into OSTs or ballads, he's definitely worth a listen. So I wanted to talk about a non-music video, and if you are on Twitter, you probably saw this like make the rounds like yesterday. It was pretty big, everybody was reblogging it. But there's this creator on Instagram, his name is June Lee, the Instagram is June Lee Comedy. He's an actor, comedian, and he does like funny sketches. He made the funniest K-drama parody, all with Instagram like filters and Instagram stories, and it's like top notch. Would watch several episodes of, and like talk about it on Twitter. It's so good. And he even like towards the ends of the like little clips that he makes, he'll put little ads on it, like, you know, Nike or Subway. It's hilarious. I also like checked out his like Instagram feed, and he does a ton of like fun stuff. So like not only just that K-drama parody, he's just a really cool and really funny guy, and you should check him out. Back to music, Eunjung from the group Tiara, she just came out with a Japanese like solo release, and I found it, like I stumbled upon it, and I needed to just like briefly talk about it and briefly like tell you about it because I think it was really good. I wasn't expecting it to be so heavily rock. I personally really like J-rock, so especially with like female J-rock artists, I just really love that like it's almost like this like drastic change between what the voice is and what the music is, and I think it just like pairs really nicely. So if you are like a fan of Tiara, maybe you didn't realize that happened, you should definitely check her out. If you don't know, I work in theater. It's like what I do. It's what I've done for a very long time. I grew up in the theater. Like, it's my thing. So I do tend to get interested when I see musical theater or theater things happening in kind of like the Korean entertainment or the Japanese entertainment world. Though I don't keep up with them strictly, I do make note of them when I see them. And Excalibur is a musical that's going on right now that's like super huge. It has a lot of people in it. Like, it's probably one of the bigger productions that are coming out of Korea right now that aren't brought in from, you know, like a touring company from like the United States or Cirque or something like that. And they released a video where they talked to some of the designers of the production. As of now, it's not subtitled, so that's like the only problem with this video, but it's so cool because they talk to like the set designer and the costume designer and the lighting designer, and then they also show like little glimpses of kind of the behind the scenes stuff that they're doing. And I think it's just like a really cool like insight into theater. And finally, because I've talked enough, I wanted to mention very quickly one of the like songs this past week that I just have been loving and I have on repeat like always, so it's probably my favorite song that came out within the past couple weeks, is the song Me from CLC. Like, I like a lot of their songs, and I'm really starting to dig their sound, and I think they're doing like this really like fun kind of like where 4 Minute was when they disbanded is the type of music that CLC is doing now. And so it's kind of nice to see kind of live on through this group, and they're like really great, and they're really great dancers, so definitely check that out. So those are the links I thought that I would share with you this week. I hope that this video is not too rambly and that like it has some sort of structure. I tried to make it a structure as best as I could, but I don't know, we're still working on it. We're just figuring out what we want to do together, right? Leave a comment below if this is something that you're interested in. Also, give this video a like if you like it. I did that thing where I unlisted or privated like all of my old videos because they have really nothing to do with my content now, and I personally didn't want to see them. Not that like I cared that they were out there, just I didn't want to see them, and now my poor channel's like screwed on the algorithm. So if you could like help a girl out and help like get these videos kind of back to where I was, that would be really great for me. Thanks guys, and I'll talk to you later.